I think it's a certain time, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
I'm just waiting to see how long I can hold you out. Okay, there you go.
Tulsi time. There we
Wait,
go.
why do I always pick that one?
Why do
that
you
one's
always pick
better.
that
Yeah,
I don't
Tulsi and
know.
Klobuchar together.
It's right. It's like the most natural one for me to hit with my ring finger. I don't know, just how it
Tulsi
is.
time.
There we go.
Tulsi time.
Okay.
All right, folks. So Daniel,
All right.
recently, Tulsi Gabbard was on Joe Rogan. Now, I watched half of that interview. I'm going to be watching the rest of it later tonight. It was really outstanding. So what's going on?
Okay, yeah, so Tulsi Gabbard. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard is on a roll with Joe Rogan. Sanders was on once and kicked ass and got a huge, 10 million views almost right away. Andrew Yang was on once, and that really helped his campaign. Tulsi's been on 3 times now, so they seem to have a very good relationship, and I believe Joe Rogan's actually endorsed her.
Oh, did
yeah, I
he?
think
That's cool.
And again, she's been on 3 times, so we're getting into a little bit of it. There's already not a lot to give away. It's a wonderful conversation. Joe Rogan always does a good job with these things. So when the live stream's done, or if you're watching this after we record, when this segment's done, go check it out. It's really good. Okay. So Democratic Rep Tulsi Gabbard took a shot at the media's usage of the Democratic debates and compared the debates to political reality TV, something we've said on the show for quite a while. Like, we could easily host a much better debate. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Candidates, come over here. Gabbard spoke on the Joe Rogan Experience with Rogan and Jocko. What was it? I always forget his last name. Willink, whatever it is. People will correct me. And discussed attacks from her fellow candidates, her presidential bid, and her thoughts on the debates. Gabbard called the format of the debates frustrating, saying you've got 60 to 75 seconds to get your point across, to talk about here's my position, here's what I want to do with North Korea, here's what I would deal with immigration reform in less than 30 seconds, Gabbard told Rogan. It's also more difficult when you're given no time to speak, even though you're polling above people that, are speaking far more than you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later in discussion. The Hawaii representative bashes the debates as the media's money-driven, ratings-driven venture, and pointed out that while the first 2020 debate had about 22 million viewers, the most recent Democratic debate had roughly 6.6 million. So we were wondering after the last time we did a debate, hey, why were there so few people watching across the platform? Because they're just, no one cares, because they're like, well, that's why we get drunk at these events, because they suck, and we
It's a lot more of the same.
Yeah. It's like we gotta do something to entertain you guys, because the debates are just terrible.
I was a little tipsy when I left the debate last
Little tipsy. Everyone saw it. You can say what happened. I mean,
when I left the debate, and I mean, upon waking in the morning and looking back, I was certain, like, okay, in the pieces that I missed, certainly they talked about Bolivia.
No.
Certainly they talked about
all of it.
climate change.
That's what climate change, Medicare for all that was taken care
And I
of.
was like, I just missed it all, or I was just too drunk to notice. And then no, that wasn't the case at all. I was mistaken.
Well, it goes back to what Bernie Sanders said. We need to switch.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm reading chat. There we go. Hey, I'm pulling a Paul. Paul is out of town, so I can say that.
That's okay. You can always keep the camera on me.
Okay, let's
there
do
we
that. Go ahead, Kit.
We're live, folks, so don't worry about it. So, nonetheless, I think it goes back to something that Bernie Sanders said about the debates early on, that they are demeaning. And once again, Tulsi Gabbard proves, once you really listen to her, and once somebody actually gives her time to really speak out her thoughts, her policies, and really what her campaign is about, you find out that, the narrative that corporate media has been saying about Tulsi Gabbard is completely false. Now, we know this, but a lot of people who watch corporate media don't know this. What they hear about Tulsi Gabbard is, Assad apologist, Russiagate supporter, or pro-Russia.
Yeah, like Kremlin asset or whatever, which I still don't even really understand where they get that.
And then finally, also, there's all this talk about third party, which she kind of joked about, because she said on Joe Rogan's show, I've answered this question so many times, and I only could say it so many times, but I'm surprised at the incompetence of corporate media, because even I was joking about this with Daniel. How many times has Tulsi Gabbard said, I am not going to run as a third party candidate?
It's not incompetence. It's on purpose,
Times,
I mean, you know that,
2,000
but
times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times. What's Tulsi Gabbard say? I am not running as a third-party candidate. I mean, she's not going to do it. Corporate media, she's never going to do it, and I think it shows, like, not only is it probably not on purpose, it's probably also on purpose, but it also brings in another big question. do these people even know how to do their goddamn jobs? Or do they just see questions that have been asked before, copy and paste them, and then ask
But that's just the thing, Kit. Their job is to protect the status quo. So my answer to that question is yes, these people do know how to do their jobs, and they've been doing an excellent job of maintaining the status quo until the internet came along.
I agree with Kit.
Oh, yeah?
I agree with Kira. That's the right.
I was like, oh, okay.
No, I agree with Kira. I'm with you on this.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that they're dumb or that they're not hearing her. I think it's like on purpose misinformation.
Yeah.
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 You know, because all of the, I like Tulsi just fine. She's not one of my top candidates, and all of the smear shit that comes out about her aren't anywhere near the reason she's not my top candidate. And it's all, and the reason is it's because it's all fake.
Yeah.
It's all made up. And so, they could very easily, I think, go after some of the things that she has said and done and actually diminish her reputation. But instead, they would rather lie because they underestimate the intelligence. I think they underestimate the intelligence of the American people.
Oh, of course they do all the time.
And so instead, they just do these like very bold-faced bald-faced accusations, I should say, and bold accusations because they're absolutely untrue and they're not set in anything real, and so I do think that they are obfuscating facts on purpose to maintain the status quo. And so they just don't hear her when she says that.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is if a regular news reporter asks her, let's say, 2 or 3 questions, if one of those questions is always, hey, you're going to run for third party, you get that drilled into people's heads that that's a possibility because that's all they hear. But also, you've eaten up 33% of all the question time that she has anyway. So she'll keep giving the same answer, and then everyone that trusts mainstream media will say, well, they must be asking for a reason. They're not, partisan in that way. And if they don't believe her, it just gets more and more annoying. And again, it's just mainstream media cashing out any reputation they have in the short term, like any corporation, for money in the short term. At the cost of their reputation.
There's another thing too to mention. Corporate media must really be afraid of Tulsi Gabbard because they give her very little time to speak during the debates, but also they spend all their time basically trying to smear her. We even did a story about how the New York Times, the most trusted news source in the world, quote unquote, went after her because of her white pantsuit and that it just doesn't work. But yet
what they did, I love that pantsuit.
Oh yeah, they said it was. We did a whole. Yeah, Kira, you should
back off, New York Times.
Yeah, hold on, because
you should watch the show more often. I thought I did a decent job covering it.
Kira, well, actually, what's interesting enough that the author of the article in 2016 wrote positive reviews about Hillary Clinton's white pantsuit and why it's so epic and great. So the same author who wrote that 2016 piece about Clinton's white pantsuit said, oh, well, Tulsi Gabbard's white pantsuit just doesn't work. So, I mean, also, hold on, we got a super chat.
Yeah,
and I think this is really directed towards you, Kira. Big Irv Express, $1.99. Thank you for the super chat. WTH, what the hell? How is she not one of your top candidates, i.e. being Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, one of the reasons that she's not one of my top candidates is like a lot of essentially her voting on the BDS movement was a real turnoff for me. And some of the way that she frames some of the other progressives or progressivism in general on some interviews I don't think she came out strong in that interview. I think that she could have pushed back a little bit more. I forget who the hell that was with. That interview was with Rubin, the Rubin Report. And I think that there were some questions framed about progressivism that I thought was really off-putting that she didn't push back on. I think she could have come out stronger on that. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I don't dislike her. She's just not one of my top candidates. That's all.
Okay. All right. Nonetheless, all right.
Hey, for the next
we
part?
have diverse opinions here at Hardlands Media.
Yeah.
So
diversity makes the plants grow bigger, I think.
And,
I think talking to the plants makes it grow bigger, but
talking nice to the plants. If you yell at the plant, it wilts.
Yeah.
So,
and there's definitely wiggle room in my top 3. I'm not set on any. Well, I'm pretty set on Bernie Sanders. I gotta say.
I think in regards to
we're pretty non-diverse in that.
Yeah, yes. Like, okay, scratch what we said about diversity.
We're talking number two diversity.
But I think if we just head back to the story one more time, this also shows the power of independent media and independent content creators and people like Joe Rogan, for example, on his show. Look at the amount of viewers he's able to get when interviewing these presidential candidates, and look at how much information just average people across the political spectrum are learning about Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard or Andrew Yang. This is the future of media. Independent media is where it's at. And once again, Tulsi Gabbard had an opportunity and a real chance on this platform, on Joe Rogan's show, to really explain where she stands on the issues, her thoughts on this presidential campaign, and the clear danger of this corrupt system that we have. I mean, we have very few politicians, right? Let's face it, we have very few politicians in this political climate of ours that actually have the courage to do the right thing. The only people who are coming to mind are just Senator Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, and then the squad. And that's it.
And then the squad. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Oh, and the other one, I was like, gosh, I feel like,
Who are your top
what's
three?
his face? The Texan, Rick Perry. I was like, God, there was another reason for Tulsi. The other one is I don't love her healthcare plan.
Okay.
It reminds me of the public school system and private school system. It's like, so that's sort of, what I heard in that. My top three are Bernie Sanders, Warren, and Yang.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we also got a super chat from Kate, $4.99. Thank you so much for super chat. Crystal Ball had a great Assad response. If Assad was a dictator who gassed his own people, Tulsi had three choices: ignore, invade, or engage. And the thing is, well, we already found out that Assad didn't do that.
Well, there's even more. Again, like that's a whole other time. We don't have time for that. But yes, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta be really honest. I was, reading these stories, and I'm still really confused as to why they call her a Putin puppet.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like an idiot saying that, but I don't get it.
It's lazy journalism.
Okay, so I guess we're going a little bit over time.
Okay, sorry, you guys. I just wanted clarification.
It's basically because a lot of the people that watch TV in the audience that's voting for establishment people are older. This is my take. And they've gone through the Red Scare. Many of them are still conditioned with that. So if you have her tied with Syria's with Russia, people are mad at Russia.
Okay.
It's just a context thing where it's like, that's what we can hit
so
her.
that's how they're stringing that along.
And then also on top of that, corporate media was spinning this narrative, and we actually did a very good job fact-checking that polling data showing who RT America and Sputnik and other Russian news agencies are talking about the most. And at least according to MSNBC's horrible job at mathematics, they're saying that, Tulsi Gabbard has the most positive mentions, even though she's mentioned 61 times in Russian
Small samples.
networks.
What they're doing.
Wow, that's really reaching.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
And I think that makes Gabbard stronger.
Yeah.
I think all these attacks on her make her stronger.
I'm reading a lot of the chat. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "We'll get her into your top three at some point."
Yeah, you might, because I do like Tulsi. It's just like we could get into this later.
The election is young
because the election is young, and you guys like. I was expressing this to our friend Matt Cotton, who worked in Wolfpack with us, when I was like, gosh, I've always loved Warren so much. And I think that my attachment and love for her still hangs on from the past, even though like a lot of the stuff that's come out recently and how married she is to the DNC makes me uncomfortable. I think that she still makes the top three for me, honestly, because of my attachment to a past Warren that I knew.
Venture that by the time Iowa starts, Warren will no longer be in your top three.
We'll see. We'll see. The circles I'm influenced by are all over the place.
You're gonna. The surprise thing is no one knows what's happening with Kit yet. Besides. That's
right.
We can't go into that, so I'm gonna give a spoiler and unspoiler. So you're gonna be here more often.
I'll be here a lot.
So I think that our influence of our social
well,
circle
and our viewers, they contribute so much to everything that we talk about. I learn a lot just from being on the show, so I appreciate it.
Also, we got a $9.99 super chat from Kate. Thank you so much for your special pin delivery, Daniel. I am thankful for Hardlands Media. So there we go. That's for our Patreon supporters.
I'm a professional. I used to drive for Lyft, so yeah, I have the experience, the requisite experience.
So I guess that ends Tulsi time because we had a lot of fun.
That was a long segment.
That was a long segment on Tulsi, but I think it was much needed.